Okay, so we're here at with episode 22, I believe. A very special episode today of the Whiskey. Fuck, I almost did it again.
To be alive if you can't do that.
Fucking Whiskey Tango, man.
The Strong and Petty podcast.
Screw those guys.
We're here in the Whiskey Tango studio. You might notice there's a little bit of a change here in our who we have at the table here with us. Dave Beakley, one of our esteemed hosts, couldn't make it. God knows why. And Beakley is such a huge name in the strength world. He's so important in the grand scheme of things that we thought, who could we possibly get in here that could almost be at the level of like a Dave Beakley in terms of strength sports, and we did our very best. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce the 4-time world's strongest man, Magnus for Magnusson. Thank you very much for being on the show, man. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited here. We've had Chris McDowell. We've had
who else?
I literally don't remember who else.
That's all we've had.
Janaea,
yeah. IFBB Pro.
Hofer. But now we've had the world's strongest man on our podcast, so that's very exciting for us here.
Kind of taking leaps bigger. Usually people build up to things like, we'll get a medium grade client, you know. Or like, no, let's just jump to 4-time world strongest man
to the GOAT. So you're here for I think everyone kind of knows what's going on with Magnus here in Gimli this weekend already. Holy smokes! The Magnus Classic qualifier that we have going on.
Yep.
Well, Magnus actually texted me. He said he's just coming out just to see you spank Jeffers.
Yeah.
Really?
That's what I'm sure he said that. I don't know. But
I hope expectations have been tempered since then, because that guy's a fucking monster right now. So anybody if you haven't watched the other Magnus classics that take place in Iceland, do it. They're so fun to watch. They're so awesome. They're a high caliber of show, and they're also I think it's an interesting show, and I'm not sure if this was kind of on purpose or not, but like you see guys that you don't necessarily see at say the Rogue or the Arnold or the ones because you kind of see the same names over and over and over again at those shows. And at the Magnus, we saw guys like you see Max, who's like a perennial world class guy like that. But you also see guys like Pierre Motel. You saw Rongo. You see these guys that you don't necessarily see at that next show, and it's really exciting to see an opportunity for these guys to break out and to do it at such an important show as the one that you're putting on.
Yeah, well, it is in the end of the year. It's in November in Iceland, and it's cold.
Yes,
it can be windy, especially windy over there.
It's like a very wet, damp, cold
and raining, right?
Yeah, you don't know what to expect. So the weather elements play a part. But yes, a lot of the what you would call the top guys or whatever, it's the end of their season and they got plenty of things going on.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've had some really great guys. A few guys that we want to get recognized and need to get recognized and deserve to get recognized.
And you give them the stage to
give them the stage, and now we've come up with a ladder for them to be able to climb and to get into the contest. And
other than the normal Giants Live World's Strongest Man, whatever the other one is, they're Static Monsters now. I don't know. Static's more just powerlifting, right?
Well, it's like a 2-event thing, but it's not publicized the same way as these ones are. So
and that was a big thing you emphasized to me when we were in communication for last year, and we've been talking the whole off season. And the one thing I kept emphasizing is let's let in 1 or 2 guys locally and give them a chance. The guys, you let me pick them to a degree. But Devin, which guys are going to finally break out of the sport? And let's give them a chance and showcase them, which is.
I think the last show in Gimli really showcased some of those guys too, like Jeffers and Colton.
And that was Jeffers' really breakout year was last year.
Vilius too, Vilius, and just that was a huge show for him, where people were like, "Oh, who's this friendly, kind of feisty guy that was showing up?" And all of a sudden, he just started crushing events, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
For his size,
he's something else.
He's amazing.
He's explosive for his size, in relative to the size of the strongman these days. What he accomplishes. I was just watching his last contest. He did the Iceland one. He did the Magnus in Iceland there a couple weeks ago.
He just competed somewhere.
Or where was that?
Ordinary too.
He did the Vikingurinn, which is his 31st year that we've done.
Wow.
I do that contest, and he won it this year.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
And he's so explosive.
And it's just nice, too, because he's such a good guy. Like it's like you want to see him do really well. Like it's easy to cheer for him. It's easy to like him because he's just so friendly and so like, you know, it can be probably an intimidating thing to come over to a new country and to be competing and stuff. But he was just like, you know, mingling and talking to everybody and stuff. And Teddy too. Like these guys were both just like really friendly and cool
Teddy
guys to have
was a
around.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I still messaged him.
He's a
back
big
and forth.
teddy bear.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that guy. He's a great guy. Yeah, that was good meeting him.
Because Teddy just competed. Or no, sorry, not Teddy. Vilius just competed in. Oh damn it! It was somewhere sort of out of the ordinary. It was like a. Do you remember? Uzbekistan. Thank you. I damn it! It was right there.
Yeah.
And it's just
he was so close of being a podium there. He messed up with the stone.
Yeah.
Costed him some points, but he was up there.
Yeah.
He was giving those guys a run for their money.
Would you call him sort of because like and I don't mean to be diminutive to the Icelandic guys or anything, but right now like Iceland's maybe not like with the exception of say like Ithor and those guys who were like that really top tier guys. Is he one of the guys that's really kind of like someone to watch from Iceland, even though he's not Icelandic per se, but he's like one of those guys who's training in Iceland, who's coming up on it. Like is there a crop of those guys, or is he sort of coming up above some of the other ones?
Well, there are a few of them around. You know, my strongest man in Iceland was won by Kristján Jón Haraldsson again this year.
Yeah, he won twice, right?
Yeah, he's won it twice now. And he looked pretty dominant on that one. On the weekend Gurinn, he didn't have a good contest. He was just like, he was not sleeping good. It's a different element to do that kind of a contest. We go for 3-4 days and out to the East Coast and this and that, and it's like we're kind of like a traveling circus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like a very old school.
That's what Strongman was, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, that's how we used to do it, and and that's actually the way I love to do it.
Well, that's why all the events I watch, like that's where your comp differs from WSM or Giants Live, is the events you choose are, and you stretch it here as much as we could accommodate, but as many natural stones as we can. Let's try. This year we couldn't get wooden logs, but let's get wooden logs. Let's take it all back to what Strongman was originated as.
There's a very specific feel to the Magnus shows.
Yeah,
like
it feels different.
Yeah,
and that's why it's
supposed to be like nature kind of thing, and you know, our ancestors or whatever, they didn't have all these nice shiny stuff to lift.
Yep.
You know, they found things, they found
trees.
rocks, they found trees, or whatnot, chopped out woods. I remember, you know, when I was starting out doing strongman and going to Scotland and heading there, you were lifting wooden logs. There was no way any of those logs were balanced.
Right. Yeah.
They were usually one side were definitely usually one heavier than the other one.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
just hope
you know,
pick it up
and
on
we
your dominant side.
didn't have them elevated from the floor
like we do now.
Like we do now. We had to stick our toes underneath, you know, and basically lift them from the ground.
Did you ever do the ones where they started sideways and you had to pick it up from there?
No, that was casted. That was in his time. It was interesting.
Yeah, maybe 1980 or 1981. I think they did that.
And those logs were really thick as well. I think those were like 14 inches or something.
Yeah.
Which normal size now is like 12-inch logs.
And standard, yeah.
And but you know, the guys are getting so good at making the logs now, and I got some beautiful logs back in Iceland.
I know,
made by Richard Looney. Have at Monster Equipment.
Does he ship across seas?
He does. He does. He's just an artist.
I've always said I would like to get a full set of wooden logs yet. I know the price is going to cost me, because it would be for Manitoba Strongman. And do I really need $10,000 in logs? No.
But I would like them though.
But I've spent a lot of money on dumb stuff in the last couple of
years. If you want to spend money on dumb stuff, Strongman.
I'm the guy to do it. Yeah.
To let the cat out of the bag a little bit regarding how I want to do, you know, the events what I want at the Magnus Classic in Iceland this year is I'm gonna change it up a bit. So you know how I've done the logs medley for years now. I'm thinking of doing a log for Max, but we'll keep on bringing up in the heavier logs
until they fail,
and end up with a big log, and keep adding to that until there's a fail.
Oh, cool!
That'd be nice. That's a cool log ladder idea.
Yeah. No, there's no log ladder. It's for Max.
Sorry, log Max. Yeah.
So you know, you'll next weight when you come into that, you'll probably get like 2 weights on each log that you bring in, something like that, until you get the big one. Big one is now is
how big is it?
It's actually
Like
it was
14?
originally 165 kilos empty.
Oh, wow.
Which was Richard Looney did that in memory
You trying
of
to do the
John
math?
Paul
Yeah.
Sigmarsson.
It's like 370, just over
Thank you.
370.
Yeah, that was John Paul
374?
Sigmarsson logging.
352.
Or 350. Okay, I'm going off it.
And but it's dried out to, I think it was like 154 last time.
There was a video of
So
the
like
guy.
dried
Who,
out 10 kilos.
yeah, he made that log, the Canadian maple, whatever they called it last time, and then
Yeah.
and
364.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can't use a calculator properly. But he posted a video of him putting that log overhead, and he was like, "Oh, first guy to do it." And then he put in brackets, he's like, "Oh, but it also has dried out and lost about 40 pounds."
I was texting Magnus this week, and I pulled up the farmers I made for the Magnus last year. I got the Viking heads put into them and everything, and I pull them out to get them ready for the comp, and I put them on the scale, and I'm like, "Oh no."
What did they weigh?
Oh, 265.
Oh, holy smokes.
And they were 308 last year.
the perfect farmer's weight.
And I'm like, shit. So I went and got some steel plates made, and I bolted them underneath.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
is that what you did?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool.
I told him, he's like, we need to get as close to weight as possible.
Right.
So I did the measurements on how thick a steel. I'm a couple pounds different from last year, but it's right there.
Ah, fuck it then.
It'll be enough that you guys will hate it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I will. Yeah, anything.
But
with
it's
grip,
not
I'll
on the
hate it.
sand this year, right? We're doing
No,
it on the pavement.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we're not doing the beach this year.
No.
No.
it's all
So
at the statue.
Okay,
it
that's
will
all right.
be easier for you this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be easier. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, you know what?
But we're gonna do it for max distance.
I know, and that's why I was very,
With
very
turns every
upset to
50
hear
feet.
that.
When he texts me that, he's like, I'm like, farmers. I'm like, how long? He's like, max. I'm like, that is my event.
Oh man,
If I were competing, that is my event because I'm a farmer walk guy.
it will be
Yeah.
really like you can just take me out of that one, but it'll be really exciting because Jeffers and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tristan Hoth, but he's another Western guy who's coming, and his grip is like out of this world. So those two guys are going to have like a real battle.
Well, did you see the comment on our YouTube video last week?
What's that?
It was I guess Cody making a combo something about grip or hands tearing to the farmers. No, I think it's maybe Alan.
There's somebody
and they
else,
were
yeah.
bickering on our YouTube. A bunch of guys were upset with some stuff, and then Jeffers just comments, "Well, if your grip's strong enough, it doesn't slip and you don't tear your hands."
Yep, and that's
And that just ended the
and
conversation.
the guy was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." That was pretty much it.
He's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I'm not known for my great deadlift, but I've been competing on and off, but I've never slip grip on an event in my life. So I've done farmers. We went to nationals and 300 hand. I did 160 feet, no drops. Like I can.
My grip is so poo.
But you put me on a grip machine, I don't have a great grip.
Oh.
But I think, and I'll contribute that back to the farm because we grew up. We had pigs in the bush. My dad had a pen up in the bush. And at already 8 or 9 years old, we had to carry 5-gallon pails of water down the whole driveway, up around the bush, and to feed our pigs every day because those were our pigs he gave us to sell for me and my brother, and that would give us a little bit of spending money for our old dirt bike.
That's it.
Yeah, so we had
That's
to carry.
so far. Like what?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So he would take, and it's not.
I used to
really-
mow the grass to
yeah,
get money.
he can't. Yeah, he can't get shows now. But if they would, when we had pigs back in the day, if there were cripples, they just said shoot them. The back in the day, you shot them and you throw them in the pile and they're gone. Right? But this is like years ago. You just buried half the pigs, man. But he would give us the cripples, and we made our own little pen in the bush so that the reps when they came they couldn't see our pen. And then we would feed them every day and water them. We had to carry 2 5-gallon pills each at like 9 years old, man. These things were heavier than I was, and you had to carry them down the whole driveway and around and hit them in the bush, and that's what we did every day. And I swear that contributed to my ability to do and there was no,
sure.
hey, I'm going to do this one day. But when I started doing Strongman, I could pick up farmers and run. They actually, my first comp, you'll laugh at this, we had a farmer walk hold for time. So it was a hold. I wasn't strong enough to pick the farmers off the ground. So the meat director, whatever the hell you call him, the promoter, Brent, who did all the local comps, he went to Worlds 2 in 2005 in China, but he put everything on blocks because it was my first comp and I was training them so that I could
sweetie
pick,
Devin needs
so that
a
I
little
could
bit
do
of
it, yeah, so that I could do it from a pick.
Yeah.
And I got third place in that, or no, second place by like a second.
Yeah.
I beat all the top powerlifting guys, all the top
except
guys.
for that you zeroed because you couldn't pick it up.
Yeah. My knees buckled before my grip gave out from the weight. My knees just gave out.
There was a period where I was hanging out with a young woman who was a dairy farmer, and she was literally the same thing. She would just carry.
Well, I thought you were gonna say when she grabbed that thing, she just hung
No,
on
yeah,
to it.
rip it right off. I know. Yeah, but she would carry the milk
I
bucket.
wasn't sure where we're headed with that there.
And she came to the gym one time with me, and she just started lifting on her own. I was like, yeah, come to the gym, not my current gym because that would be.
She just walks in and starts.
This is older than that.
Starts milking like a cow.
Yeah, a lot longer ago than that. And she was like doing farmer's carries, and she was just crushing it.
Yeah.
And I don't mind telling you, Magnus, I found that very sexually attractive. So,
Well, my thing is that has always been is like when I started in World's Strongest Man, there was no
What year did you start competing? I was looking back at your
91.
91. Yeah.
Well, that was your first year went to Worlds.
Yeah. That's
That was the first year you competed?
Well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, start
I'd done a bit of strongman before.
You imagine your first climb is Everest?
But I was invited basically as a reserve. I was a reserve.
Yeah.
And 5 weeks before the contest, I get a call late at night from the promoter that was running it at that time, and telling me, basically informing me, John Paul Simonson tore his bicep, and we want you to compete in his place.
Which must have been insane to hear. Like, just like John Paul of all people to be like, I have to replace the greatest Icelandic strongman of all time at that point, right? Like,
well, the thing is, that summer, what I had been doing really well.
Yeah.
And
clearly,
I was in good shape, and hey, I believed I could go and win it. John Paul believed I could go and win it.
You believed when you were put on there as a reserve, you were like, I could win this if I was in this competition. Is that something you
which just blows my mind that you were an alternate, but you're like, no, I can beat all these guys even though they got the invite.
Well, I must admit though, we all met in London at Heathrow in London before we flew out to Tenerife Islands. So we all flew out on the same plane.
Yep.
And I must admit, when I saw some of the other guys, I'm like, I started thinking like, wait a minute.
Monsters.
You must
I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like a Manfred Herbal or
it was Manfred Herbal. It was Ted Vandenpara.
Yeah, these guys are monsters. Even Greg Ernst was a big guy. These are all big guys.
The Nightmare, Odie Wilson.
Yeah.
So I'm like, then I just thought to myself, well, I'll show those big bastards.
That actually kind of goes to a question somebody asked me on my thing. Was that, did you feel like, and maybe this is kind of the wrong word, but like, did you feel like people were kind of like, who the fuck is this guy because you weren't physically at the same level as some of those guys, or did they like? Do you think they took you seriously, or do you think that they saw you as just like, this guy's just a reserve?
Like, did they see you as a threat to other competitors because you were?
Well, some of them knew.
Some of them knew already.
Right.
Well, it's not like now where you have social media.
Doing some competitions. In social media now, you know
what everybody does.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, they didn't know. No, not a lot of them didn't know.
Yeah.
Right.
But they learned.
A lot of the promoters they didn't know.
They got learned that day.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that reserve spot in the first place?
John Paul Simonson got me into it.
You got into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel like when you did John Paul, he didn't do World's Strongest Man again after that, did he? 91?
No.
Did you?
He tore his bicep and he had problems. They attached it. They did operational. He did some strongman after that, but he didn't do worlds.
Yeah, he didn't do worlds. Yeah.
He had a problem. He could not rotate the hand. All the bones in the forearm kind of grew together. There was so much activity going on there, and they were waiting for that activity to stop or slow down. So they were going to open it up and chisel that away.
Yeah.
See if they, everything could go back to normal. But he left us before that happened.
Yeah. If there would have been a little bit more of a crossover, like let's say if you had started a year or 2 years earlier, and you and John Paul were on the world stage together, do you feel like there'd be any kind of like camaraderie there, or would you just see him as another guy you have to beat at that point, both being Icelandic guys?
Yeah.
Just fuck him.
Actually, I did learn a lot from him.
Right.
And especially with the work ethics.
Right.
He was pretty much came from the same kind of cloth, same kind of upbringing.
Because you guys are both very fit compared to a lot of the strongmen, say like an Odie Wilson or whatever. Like you guys were, like especially John Paul, were like ripped. You know what I mean? Like, Do you think that he would have seen you as meat, or would he have seen you as somebody he wanted to help at a world stage?
Well, I knew he'd said to a lot of people, that without me knowing, that I was gonna go somewhere.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
He saw that coming.
And you found that out later on in life.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So he's seen it. He was telling everybody else, but he wasn't telling you.
No, he wasn't telling me. Yeah. But it was pretty much. I started in the powerlifting at broken all his records in powerlifting.
Right.
And, you know, and started doing strongman.
And also where he came from was powerlifting too, right? So you could probably see the same trajectory with you. Like,
and, you know, and I was starting to really make him work for it.
Yeah. Were you training partners?
Yeah.
To a degree,
Some points, yeah. And, well, actually, you know, which is, you know, I kind of hate to say that, but we did a show here at the same time I won the Worlds in 91. We did a show in Fergus, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
Shit. And called the World Muscle Power.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And O.D. Wilson was there, Gary Taylor, and it ends up with like top 3 is John Paul, Jamie Reeves, and me, and there's like a point or something separating all of us.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like just like so. Last even anybody could basically win the contest.
Yeah.
Right.
And they had this super yoke at that time. Super yoke was actually that's what Douglas Edmonds had over there. It was a wooden super yoke.
Oh, okay.
It was from like the oxen. From the oxen
wow,
thing,
that's pretty
right?
cool. Yeah.
And they used to have on the Highland Games, they have like people standing on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you would run with it, and so they brought that out. They actually added put people on it and added some extra weight, so it hadn't never been loaded that heavy.
Oh shit.
And so there was 4 of us still left to go.
Yeah.
I think, and the best time before I went was 33 seconds.
Okay.
Me and Gary Taylor go together against each other,
Head to
right?
head.
Head to head.
Were
And
you did you guys just have twins on each side, or how did the weight be say?
yeah, it was all calculated. I don't think that was
Yeah.
really
It wasn't
accurate.
They just eyeballed it.
Yeah.
But
you
so
look the same.
You look similar.
Yeah.
So we're going at it, seriously going at it.
Yeah.
And you know, like, and we're like side by side kind of thing,
Yeah.
and Gary's yelling at me like, "Come on, Magnus, come on!" I'm like,
Yeah.
That's it.
So, what did I say? 30. I get it.
You said the best time was 33. Yeah.
Set by I think Chelling Money Boss at that time.
Oh.
I do 25 seconds.
Fuck yeah.
Gary Taylor's 25.7.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, oh, I got him.
And you had the heavier people.
So I'm pretty sure I
Clearly,
did.
yeah. Clearly, yeah.
And I'm thinking, I got him. Because John Paul had a hurt ankle.
Okay. Yeah.
So I figured, oh, he won't be that fast. And I figured Jamie would not be that fast in the reach. So, but just before I'm getting over the finishing line, I can hear my thing cracking.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
So like, and I got over the line, and it was cracked. It was broken. So they had to go one at a time.
One at a time, yeah.
So and I can see them talking and
Scheming.
scheming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Conniving, we'd call it.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you know, like you know, he's gonna beat us here.
Yeah.
So.
This is controversial.
This is the weirdest thing. So Jamie Reeves is supposed to go first.
Yeah.
Because John Paul was leading in the points. And Jamie Reeves just gets under that thing, and they like, you know, lift and go, right? He like hits it really hard and cracks that one as well.
That son of a bitch.
That's amazing.
So like they're looking at it. So they go like, the call is, we'll scrap that event and make it the stance how it was before.
Oh
that
my
event.
god. That's so funny. Holy shit.
So
I like the idea.
I you know,
That's insane.
put it really lightly, I did not get happy.
Can't imagine why.
Oh my God,
I
dude.
threw. It was on a field, luckily,
Yeah, they
because I
give-
threw my belt really far.
They give you the big-breasted woman on your sides of the yoke, and then they take it away. I
That's
get it, yeah.
amazing.
But so this was early, well, in 91. But karma is a bitch.
So I'm not saying that's why he tore his
So-
bicep, but
Both of them tear a bicep.
Oh my god!
Before the Worlds, they're both out of the Worlds.
Yeah, Reeves did too, didn't
and who
he?
goes
Yeah.
and wins it?
That's amazing.
You didn't get convinced him to flip a tire before Worlds by chance. Did you?
That's amazing. That's
I've never heard that story. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Karma's a bitch.
I love the idea though that you could just be so strong that you're just like, I'm just gonna fuck up this equipment. Like
Yeah.
it's like that's just like Jamie
Just-
Reeves is just so powerful. He's like, if I slam this wooden yoke hard,
really,
enough,
strong man.
it's amazing. Like that's just so amazing. That
I hit it
if I
hard
just hammer
enough-
this hard enough, I can probably break this fucking wood.
He kind of came to me after. Wow, I just didn't want to, split the prize money or something. I'm like, fuck off, you.
Yeah.
bastard.
That's so funny.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
I did not talk to them for. It was still there. I did not talk to them for about 2 days.
That's those wily veterans, I guess.
Did you ever get vengeance on the yoke against them? I guess John Paul retired. Why didn't he retire
Yeah,
after he
pretty
didn't
much three tried from the World after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie.
because he was almost done at that point. From
Well,
Worlds,
we actually got equal second the year after when it was held in Iceland,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you got first, second, then 3 firsts in a row after that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And one of those
winning
seconds-
ones is, people were saying I was lucky, or, this guy wasn't there or that one or whatnot.
People say the same.
Did you find there was a lot of that? Was there a lot of like murmurs of like, until you won, obviously.
Yeah.
But was there things like what's like why is he there? What's he doing?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
was there a lot of that?
You
Or?
get these people saying these things. It's like when Martins wins.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Martins isn't the strongest. Or
This guy was missing, or he wasn't on his game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a squat in that.
Yeah.
In that final when Martins won, and he blew everybody away in the squat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go back, it was, it's always been said about me. Oh, he was just Magnus was just technical. He wasn't that strong. But let's go back on this, the power events in World's Strongest Man. Squat. Nobody beat me on squat.
There we go.
Deadlift, first or second.
Yeah.
Overheads. I think I got a third.
Yeah.
Especially
Clearly,
like
yeah.
So-
in the 3 predictor lifts of Strongman, you were in the top 99%.
So having
Weird.
that,
Yeah.
plus beating them on loadings and whatnot.
And being more
Yeah.
athletic.
Yeah.
No, but it's because you're technical.
Yeah,
but people
purely.
always take the rate off. This guy was there that day, and I got the same last year. Tyler wasn't at Maxwell Strong's man, and I won. And I was like, well, if Tyler's there, you would have lost.
That was me saying.
Fuck that guy. I know what you're saying. Obviously, we're almost on the same level, but
It's like, you get guys coming after like World's Strongest Man or something.
Yeah.
Go, well, if there wouldn't be this and that, if the truck pull wasn't this light,
yeah.
I
If it was
would've
heavier, I
won.
would have beat him because I'm just stronger.
Right. That's
Yeah.
But no, you're trying to trying to think. Oh, your body weight might help you more in a
Well,
heavy
for sure.
truck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
My thing is, okay, why didn't you just pull faster? If it was that light, your body weight, your size, it should help you
Yep.
to go faster.
Yeah. When you lean forward.
But if you're pulling it like a beginner,
Yeah.
you're not going to win it.
You got
go
more
fast,
weight
yeah.
generating. Is there, without saying names and get yourself in a picture,
Or do
is there a
say
lot
names,
of is there a lot of controversy at the top levels like that for that caddy bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if they
So I said we're not saying names. I don't want to get, but
if things go wrong or they don't do as well as they think they should have, it's always my fault.
yeah, sounds like they're married.
I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
it wasn't my fault you couldn't pull that deadlift.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like,
Because we get it on a small level, and we're in a small province, so we have some. There's really not much here, but there's the odd little time, but it gets kiboshed pretty quick. But I could tell on the top level, there's got to be some.
Well, tensions run high. There's money.
Yeah, and then
there's all
some
kinds of
whiners,
shit,
right? Some crybabies, and, like things don't go their way, right?
You wouldn't even believe it. But
do you feel okay? Well, do you feel like that's has that gotten worse as the years have gone on? Like, is it like
With the advancement of how-
it's like being taking on a role like refereeing. You know how it is.
Yeah.
It's not the popularity. in a job.
Yeah, you're not. They're not happy with you.
They're never happy.
No.
It does not matter what you do.
Right.
Somebody's always unhappy with what you do, or somebody's moaning about this, or oh no, he made it hold him too long. Oh, didn't make him hold it long enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah, his left arm wasn't fully locked out. Mine was.
It's over. It's but in the end of the day, if everything is going pretty consistent, and at the end of the day you look at things, would it have changed anything? No.
It's weird how those guys that complain like that, when they get a call that goes their way, they don't have the integrity to come to you and say, hey, take that point away from me. You gave me a call that I should have got.
I didn't get that one. Yeah.
No one's ever done that, right? Like,
no.
It's amazing that happens. But I do a lot of the ref. I'm a ref in every one of our comps here in Manitoba, and I always have a second ref that comes in to help in head-to-head events.
Yeah.
And one thing I always tell them, which competitors might like, but I'm like, and I've always said, if you screw up a call as a ref, I'm like, you don't tell anybody but me, and you own your call. No one knows you screwed up. No one knows you screwed up your time. No one knows the fucking thing. You don't click start on that thing on accident. You subconsciously know how much time you had. You just add it on there. So, and no one will know the difference. And you're never going to tell anybody. There's numerous times in comps where something goes wrong, and I know it went wrong, but no one else does. Right. And I keep it that way. And no one will ever know.
And also, like that's like just like anything else. Like we're relative, the grand
we're
scheme of
human.
things. We're relatively new to the idea of promoting and putting on shows and stuff too. So there's going to be like, oh, fuck that one up a little bit. You know what I mean? The same way that the athletes are going to fuck things up when they're new to. You know what I mean?
I found I had the most flaws this year in my comp for some reason with just little misloads or like things that have never happened to me. But I mean, I'm involved in 10 events this year, so it's a lot, right?
Get Magnus's opinion on the misload.
Yeah. What's your opinion if all of a sudden something is made heavier than it should have been, and the guys are complaining because now they have to lift heavier in a strongman competition?
It's the same for everybody, ain't it?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something like, don't be a fucking pussy.
No, you fucking know. It's the same but that's what we said, though.
But I like your politically correct answer.
As long as it's the same for everybody, then it's the same for everybody.
No, it's like, you can be a competitor. You got a plan.
Yeah.
We all, you all go in and you have a plan. Well, I'm going to do this and that and do this and that. And I'm going to say something like that Mike Tyson says once. You go into a fight, you step into that ring, and you have a game plan. And you start getting hit in the face.
Yeah.
Your game plan goes out of the window.
Sure, yeah.
So sometimes order of events change, so something like that. And, you get people complaining, well, I had this game plan and this and that.
Yeah.
But it changed for everybody else
as
well. So
we had
what are you fucking whining about? It's like, did it affect you more than anybody else?
We had a comp this year. We had a comp this year, the pro comp where Tyler and Jeffers competed in, and it was so hot outside, our semi-truck started breaking through the asphalt. No one was moving this semi. And there was only 3 or 4 guys left. I stopped the whole event, and I'm like, that had never happened to me. I'm like, do we stop? Like, no, I think... You
could see like a divot in the ground. Like where
there was a hole where the tires were breaking through. And I'm like, well, it'll just make it more dramatic when Tyler and Jeffrey was there. It was a Pro-Am. And they went and they pulled out of the hole and finished the whole comp. And it was a climatic thing. For like the crowd went nuts. It made sense.
Yeah.
But it was... Would I say it was equally a shitty no? Because I guess everybody that went got a little deeper in the hole. But...
Man,
they pulled it.
If I hadn't pulled that thing,
so the hole was deeper when they went.
It was. Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, and I always say Tyler pulled out of the hole, and Jeffers we put it beside the hole. That's why he beat
Jeffers
Tyler.
is a big fucking cheater. That's what that is.
He was cheating.
Son of a bitch, Jeffers.
That's what I tell everybody.
If I can tell you right now that if I hadn't gotten that truck full and then Jeffers just walked up and got it, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now. That would have been the end of my strongman career for sure. For sure, and everything to do with it. I had a quick question for you, though, in regards to, so when you're talking about, like, you started doing Strongman in 91, competing, would you say that you were training Strongman in 91? Were you still doing mostly powerlifting stuff, or did you start getting, like,
I was the European powerlifting champion that year.
Yeah. So, but did you get specific at all with Strongman stuff?
I beat the Europeans by, I won it by...
healthy margin?
Yeah. I was in the minus 125 kilo class, which is not the super heavy. So
you won the same amount you won that yoke with.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. A good solid margin.
A spanking, they would say.
I was the highest athletes on points. Like Europeans, it was IPF. Now, at that time, they had the system they had was the Schwarz formula, I think it was.
I've never heard of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that formula was really leaning towards the little guys.
Yeah.
So they used to. So I'm there on the podium, and I got like a minus 67 kilo guy and a minus 60 guy in second and third.
Next year.
Yeah. So it was uncalled for that time that the big guys would win the point system.
Right.
And never mind by a margin.
Now they've come up with a formula. I think there's a new formula coming out now, but they've come up with the formulas, but it's actually more leaning towards the bigger guys.
Right.
Like for the
So I've always been looking for. We need a formula that's kind of right
Redo the numbers.
between those.
Yeah.
Do you follow current powerlifting at all?
Not so much anymore.
No.
Pretty much after in '91, by winning the Europeans and going to the Worlds and winning that pretty much decided where I was going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When did you start like including strongman implement training into your stuff? Like was that right away, or did you compete at Worlds training strongman implements the first time?
No.
Oh, there you go.
Like you hadn't trained any of the shit.
No.
You just rolled on in and spanked them.
Yep.
So not unlike
I didn't
Yeah.
train the events. I didn't have the events. I didn't have a set of Atlas stones or whatever to train on.
right.
I usually still kicked ass in that anyways. Yeah. But how I looked at it is like I did a lot of things or movements or whatever in the gym to symbolize what I was doing.
Yeah.
I did a lot of step ups and heavy step ups with weights on my shoulders and things like that. I would walk around in the gym. John Paul had these big dumbbells that were like kind of solid, like 80 kilo each, something like that. And I would walk around in the gym with those in my hands.
Yeah.
That's how I trained for farmers folks.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And all sorts of things. And another thing, I would hardly put on straps. I would just use my grip for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I was doing like high poles.
Yeah.
Like they do in Olympic lifting. I did a lot of that in power cleans, high poles and stuff like that in my training. And I was doing high pull 3 reps, just like actually with a hook grip with 250 kilos.
I've never done hook grip. I don't have the balls for that, and I don't have the length.
And
anywhere on my body for that.
Just on front grip.
Yeah.
I was pulling 300 kilos on
with
front
double
grip.
overhand.
Yeah.
Wow. Was there a point where you were like, I have to start bringing in the strongman stuff to train to keep up, or did you kind of always just sort of keep it this like kind of like adjacent to strongman training?
It was coming more kind of towards.
Because you hear about like Yuko Ahala doing like he had all the equipment at home and stuff.
It kind of started with him.
Yeah.
Him and Sven Carlson. They started really building their equipment and getting their all and training on it. And
did that seem crazy when it was happening? Were you like, oh wow, those guys are really doing something different over there, or did that just seem like the natural progression of things?
They got better at what they're doing, and that's one of the reason why a lot of these strongmen are lifting heavier rocks and heavier things today. Is like
efficiency.
They train specially for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And even I didn't have a log to train on.
Yeah, and the equipment's balanced logs. The circuit, everything is made in often in factories or welding shops and fabricated on machines. Now it's the equipment these days is almost perfect.
Yeah.
At regular shows, you go to the rogue shows. Now you go to your Iceland show, and you got just, hey, this rock looks like shit. Perfect. That's the one we're gonna use. Right? Or like, oh, that's gonna screw up somebody's body. Sure, throw it in. Like, back to the old stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
take away the princesses.
There are so many shows around the world. But you have the Atlas stones.
Yeah.
It's almost every show. Or, a lot of them end with that.
Yeah.
I just want to have it different.
Yeah.
Right.
I just want to have it go to the roots of strongman.
Yeah. Go back
go back to the working man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which we're seeing at the Magnus qualifier in Gimli with the natural stone finish rather than the Atlas stone finish.
We got the stone deadlift.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
which thanks to Brent, he got those.
Those are awesome.
I
Those are
love
sweet,
those.
yeah.
I was so happy to see those come back into use again. Those are.
I still have to load those damn things in my trailer tomorrow. But
we used to use those in like when I first started in like 2015. You'd see those because the promoter, he loved them too because they were his stones, and we'd use them all the time. And then they went away until pretty much last year.
well, and they found those two stones in different and it might even been the same field. And they were within a pound of each other.
Yeah.
And they just cored them out and done. And what are the odds you're going to find 2 stones the same shape,
Same
within a pound
similar
of each other?
shape.
Yeah.
And,
It made
was
no
crazy.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing at the we used to all train in a trick. When we all started Strongman, we trained in a chicken barn. That's what we all learned. Was in Altona. And the owner, Brent Ham, who did all the shows around here, who taught us all this stuff about promoting, in a sense, he had those stones. And they were always on the 18-inch pick platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I seen someone take sniffing salts. I went to the barn. I was naive to anything. I had, steroids are bad, sniffing salts are bad, everything was bad. For sure, girls were bad at that point in tits, but you never know. But I get there, and a guy's going to pull the stones, and he pulls, and he doesn't move the stones. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And he's like, give me that Tylenol bottle. Tylenol bottle looking thing. All right. He's like, wave it in front of my nose. I'm like, what? You gonna snort Tylenol? So I wave this thing in front of his nose, and boom, he pulls the deadlift and locks out. And I'm like, whatever the fuck's in there, I want in and around my nose.
That's
like,
I need
can I
that
just put it
shit.
in my mustache? Or how do we do this, right? And that was my first time seeing sniffing salts and seeing the stones being lifted. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you say, the guys have gotten so much better, because they have the specificity of training with the implements at home and stuff, or they like you look at a guy like Mitch Hooper, who's sort of
It's not just that. The whole nutrition.
sorry, everything, the grand scheme of
everything
things.
has
The machines are better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Everything
look at a
guys
guy.
did, we built on.
Yeah, like a guy like Mitch Hooper, who last year did World's Strongest Man kind of out of nowhere, and he was very open about it. He's like, I haven't done any of these events. Like, he'd never tried a truck pull. He'd never tried all that stuff.
At that time he hadn't even tried the truck pull.
Yeah, he hadn't even had it.
He told me that.
The first time he did it was at a world stage, and that kind of makes me think of what you're saying too, where it's just like, if you're strong, you're strong.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
He's an athlete.
He's a freak. Yeah,
He's-
he's an absolute
He was a
freak.
marathon runner, I found out.
Pro golfer, marathon runner. Yeah, he's done all kinds of crazy. He's a powerlifter before he did
The only
Strongman.
thing that runs on me is my damn mouth, Magnus. I did a running race 2 weeks ago in my yard against Brian, a couple of guys, and I still have an injured Achilles that I can't walk on. Because my fat ass was running. Because I thought I could win. I'm competitive. And I clearly am not as fast.
You gotta pick your battles.
I'm not as
everybody.
fast on the ground as I am in the bed. I'll tell you that much.
You got to pick your battles on that one. I will never play. I'll never race.
Yeah.
Arm wrestling, like one-on-one basketball. Those are all off the table for me forever.
Yeah, staring contest.
That one, I'll do that one all day.
Straight eyes. I can't do that either, man. So unless you want to have a running race this weekend, I mean, I'm just kidding.
Well, I got 2 artificial knees, right? So running is off the table.
Running's no good. Yeah.
Thank goodness. I was scared there for a second. Can't handle another Achilles problem.
How do you think?
Before, I was pretty fast on my feet, actually.
I could see that.
So being 120 kilos, I did the 100 meters in 11 seconds.
Holy shit.
Nice.
I don't
Devin,
know
you got that in you, buddy?
I don't know if you even go cumulatively in my life if I run 100 meters.
I can tell you, pretty much after 50 meters, I could not go faster. that was the thing.
Yeah.
You were just trying to catch your own feet so you didn't
Yeah.
fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the last time that I ran. I don't know. I guess a truck pull.
For me, it's the ice cream truck, but
Yeah. One of the questions that somebody did ask that kind of relates to what we're talking about here is how you feel with all these new like methodologies and recovery and blah 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 supplements. How would the guys of like yesteryear hang with the guys of today? Like would the guys from today hang with the guys of the back in the day? Would the old guys have a hard time hanging today? Like where do you see that shaking out, or is it kind of a case by case
if
thing?
you had access to what they have nowadays in terms of
Well, I've already kind of answered that question actually a couple of times
oh shit,
regarding like myself, Jean-Paul Sigmundsson,
yeah,
Bill Kazmaier, whatever.
yeah,
We would have access to everything these guys have today.
For sure.
yeah.
We'd still be kicking ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I would.
Well,
lean
it's
on
like
that,
people
too.
that sit with Wayne Gretzky. Well, the guys just playing against the pads are smaller for the goalies. It's too late to hockey, but it's different because that was the caliber then, and he was miles ahead then.
Right.
So if you look at what you guys didn't have the supplementation we have. No. You didn't have the training we had. Everything was learned through all the old guys on their screw ups. Well, this protocol didn't work.
Yeah.
This progression weightlifting didn't work. All these different protocols from the Russians, different weightlifting coaches that, and Ed Cohen and all these guys, Louis Simmons, they broke it for all of us, so we don't have to do that.
I mean, Kazmaier pressed like a 345 log the first time there was a log in World's Strongest Man in like 1980 or whatever. And
lots of guys never hit that.
It was a raw log.
Kaz,
You know what I mean?
at his prime there, he was ahead of his time.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
No doubt.
Is there anybody coming up right now you feel is going to be kind of the leader for the next little while. Like Worlds is back and forth every year, it seems, which is really nice to see.
Do you see Hooper making this a run?
Well, Hooper was pretty. In my eyes, he kind of dominated this year.
Yeah.
World's Strongest Man is a good competition for him too.
It was good.
Yeah.
You know, the Arnolds as well. You know, so
he's consistent.
Yeah.
He's good. The thing is, if he plays his cards right, it's like, you know, you can do all these contests. That's what I did. It's like I would only aim for a certain, you know, really put my mind on certain things.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't, you know, I wasn't training all the events. I was doing a lot of other shows and other competitions, other appearances. Where that was my event training.
Yeah.
So if he plays his cards right and just like concentrates on some of the big ones, and still, you know, but here's another thing. I believe this is something you have to compete yourself into shape.
Okay. Yeah.
Only one that I've seen pull it off, being out of the game for some time and come back and win or dominate, is Martins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When he came back to the Rogue Invitational, was out for what, 2 years?
Oh, for sure. And he started from the ground up with that injury.
Yep.
Yeah. He was
So
at level.
that's the only person I've seen pull that off.
Yeah.
You know, you got some of these other guys that need to take time off, or like, oh, I'm just going to do the Arnolds. I'm just going to do 1 or 2 contests a year. So, you know, that's where they think they're going to blossom.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They come in and the thing is, you might think in training that you're doing like you would do in a competition. You think you're pushing yourself that far, and then you recover and you do other things. But when you come into the competition, you push yourself further.
That's true. Yeah.
So to get used to that, you need to compete.
For sure.
That makes sense. Yep.
Otherwise, you'll come into a country, you'll do well in the beginning in some events, but you will suffer in others.
Yeah.
And so your game plan is out of the window.
Out the damn window again. Yeah.
So if we're talking about, say, like we've been kind of talking about like the very top level, but if we're talking about, say, like the people who are more listening to this and watching this, who are the amateur level, the beginner to intermediate, we'll say, how often would you have them compete?
A lot of times I was competing every weekend. But
that's exactly what I fucking hoped you would say. That's exactly what I wanted him to say.
But you know, close to that. But you know, the thing is, you can go. That's like I used to go. I didn't go 110% in every show I would go to.
Like you just said, you used it to train the implements.
It was my training.
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting.
So if you won,
at that time there was some, you know, there was prize money, whatever. But especially after winning titles, I could go like, okay, I got to guarantee money to show up.
Yeah.
And so I didn't need to win it.
Yeah.
You know, I would go to Finland or whatnot against guys that had been training specially for that show for a whole year.
Right.
And
I would coming from another contest the weekend before.
Yeah.
And I would still get second or something. It was fine. A lot of the times, also, what I did in Scotland, I was pretty good with like the Highland Games as well.
Oh yeah.
I was a decent thrower.
I just tried that this summer for the first time. That was not,
It's a lot of technique involved, but for some reason I picked up throwing pretty easy, and I usually did like 3 training sessions, throwing sessions before going to the Highland Games.
What was your favorite
That was
throw?
about it. And I got twice third of the World Championships
At Highland Games.
at the Highland Games.
Wow.
For a sport you didn't train for.
Yeah.
Well, just like not training with Strongman and coming and winning. So I guess, but because of your weight, you're already explosively athletic.
Yeah.
At that, you're not 350 pounds or 400 pounds like these Strongmen these days. So you have that explosiveness to be able to transition in between sports.
So a lot of the shows in Scotland, they used to include Strongman and Highland Games
Right.
at the same day. You know, so like
okay.
the whole thing was going on. So I would compete in both. There was prize money in both.
So does he look good? Does he look good in a kilt?
So, you know, in the end of the day,
Just a kilt.
I walked away with the most prize money.
Right. Wow.
I might get
dual sport
second
athlete.
or third in the Highland Games. I might get second in the Strongman.
Yeah.
But I walked away with the most prize money.
Wow.
Hey, winning's winning, man. Yeah.
Hey,
What was your best
again? It was training. Yeah.
What was your best throw for Highland Games? Which event was your go-to?
I had, let me think, 17.6, I remember right. I went over the bar.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, I got 15.
I had...
2.5 feet at that height is a lot.
God damn, 2.5 feet is a lot at that height. Holy shit.
That's a lot of momentum to go.
And the 28 was... I can't remember these numbers.
Well, I'm excited to see who can
It
throw the
was-
80-pound sandbag at Magnus this weekend.
Yeah.
It was 70, just over, somewhere over 70 feet.
Fuck. That was my worst one.
My
was,
hammers was...
I was okay at the hammer throw.
Yeah, my hammer was...
Whose hammer are we talking about?
I think
Magnus.
just about 130, 130 feet.
Holy shit.
Did you have the boots with the big?
And I was good with the caber as well.
Oh, I was horrible at that. That was my worst one usually.
So there's boots for that or what?
There's some of the guys at the Strongman or the Highland Games. They have like the spikes in their they're big, like this long spikes in their shoes that they stick into the ground, so that they can rotate.
So you can lean back.
Yeah, we can rotate and lean way back.
Yeah, my body doesn't lean back.
It's very Strongman. When I saw it, I was like, that's a very Strongman thing. That
but they can move. They got what we call thoracic mobility.
Yeah,
yeah. I bend over shit.
But if you've ever watched some of the any of the old footage, Jim McGoldrick, amazing athlete, and the best caber tosser in the world.
Yeah,
that time I saw him do some big cabers. I remember this one year when one calendar, they brought out this big, heavy caber. It was a telephone pole.
Right.
I kid you not.
Yeah.
And we were all there. It was like Gary Taylor,
and probably
Jamie
Oak.
Reeves, John
Probably
Paul.
Oak. Yeah.
It was everybody there. Nobody could
the same
turn
competition as the yoke.
No.
Oh,
No. Well, then you would have dropped the caber out of
Nobody could turn this big caber except Jim McGoldrick. He did a 12 o'clock with it.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So next year, that caber was there again.
Yeah.
It didn't get lighter, did it?
Jim McGoldrick.
Did it get lighter?
It was.
They left it in water.
It was made in tar, so I don't think it was.
It was sealed.
It was sealed.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if it got lighter, but everybody was struggling with it the next year, except Jim McGoldrick, of course.
Yeah.
He did a 12 o'clock with it again, and he was in a competition. It was a hard competition with I think Joe Quigley. So. And I pick up the caber, and for some reason I drop it.
Oh,
so you got a second try. So Jim comes, hey, he gives me some coaching. Because he needed me to become between him and the caber. Because Joe Quigley was not that good with the caber. So he needed me to become in between so he would win.
Yep.
And Joe Quigley gets second. Otherwise, Joe Quigley would win.
Strategy.
So he comes and gives me some tips, and this is what I do. And I do a 2 o'clock with it.
Oh, yeah.
I was the only other one ever to turn that caber.
Nice.
Holy shit. Funny how in the right moment, the guy's willing to give up his tip.
Yep. Yeah.
I've never told anybody this.
Yeah. But especially after that, I knew how to turn caber, and I turned some really good capers after that.
That's
because
funny.
that tip really paid off.
Something he would have never told you if he didn't need to win that contest by that point. Funny how that works. What's up?
I want to just pull up a couple of the questions that we had that people asked too. Because
we put out a Q&A for a lot of the people here are huge fans of you, and we had a bunch of people asking questions.
Some of them are so stupid. Don't even put them on the screen. I'm gonna reword them because they're a lot of our fan base is like a shade above mentally disabled. So we're gonna. So I'm gonna reword some of the things to make them.
Majority of them are members at Iron Age, which is pretty weird.
So we're gonna word things a little differently so that they make sense to you. I kind of like this question, and I think that it's whatever. We just kind of just talking about him. Was Bill Kazmaier a big asshole when he was competing? Because he was so intense and so fucking. You see him yell at referees and all that shit, like.
Was he the guy we hate nowadays when we're refs?
Pretty much.
Yeah. But he's such a monster. What are you going to do? Fight him? Right?
The thing is, I think actually he needed to thrive on kind of raids.
Okay, yep.
Well, you saw it with the grip thing that you guys did. Like, you kind of walked out there cool, and the Hercules hold, sorry.
Yeah.
And he was like, next, like, going crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, he on the day of contest, I've seen him go off on the chef because he didn't bring his food in fast enough.
Oh yeah,
or things like that. He
dude has his own chef.
But outside of that, great sit-outs with him. You know, great guy.
yeah.
But comp day
Has a lot of things to say.
But comp day was a different animal.
Yeah, and talking about that Hercules hold, I was expecting, Bill to really come out there and give it all, and so
It went well for you, though.
I'd never tried the apparatus before.
Right.
He had. I only got to try it that morning just to measure myself up and get a feel for it a little bit. But I did train for it to get just to get used to having things in my grip. But going back in time, and I came into the sport and Bill was kind of getting out of it or whatnot. He never beat me on grip. So I wasn't too worried about it, but you could never count
him out.
Bill out. That's for sure. So he had a word with the Colin Bryce and told him that I had agreed to go first.
Oh.
Which, and I'm like,
slimy bastard.
And I'm going like, oh, he did, really? He said that, huh? I said, okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? It's going to happen now. I'm just going to hold it longer.
That's fucking awesome.
I'm going to give him something to really work for.
Yeah.
And, I think actually what he did, he didn't set himself right for it.
Oh, okay.
If you ever watch it, you can see when they, give me the tension.
Yeah.
It doesn't move.
Yeah.
It's just right in there, and you can see when he gets it into his hands, it moves.
It gave a jolt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And but if that happens to you, it makes it harder.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I have a Hercules hold apparatus.
Yeah.
With the big pillars, the whole steel frame we got.
Yeah.
And same thing. We had 2 comps this year. So many people dropped it into. I told them you have to pre-tension the pulls.
Yeah.
If you don't pre-tension, because when I pull those levers, it drops.
Yep.
And if you don't pre-tension, it'll pull you left or right.
Yeah.
And it screwed 90% of people got screwed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
But that's just being smart.
yeah.
After Strongman.
Call it what you want.
If he would have gone first, I would have just gone
a second
maybe
longer.
2 seconds longer.
Go back to 1991 with that whole Hercules hold and say, well, he only won because he's technical.
After Strongman, Bill Kazmaier got involved in pro wrestling. Was that something that ever crossed your mind to do, or is that something that was ever offered to you or anything?
Never got offered it. Maybe I wasn't big enough.
I mean, you were about the same size as Kaz, weren't you?
No.
Like height-wise?
Yeah, height-wise, yeah.
I mean, he was obviously jacked, but
he was
also a very bad wrestler too. But it was but it was very entertaining. I loved watching it.
He was a monster of a man.
Yeah, he looked just
seriously.
He had the United States singlet and stuff. And he just looked gigantic. Man.
Well, I'm sure you listen to all our episodes here at Strong and Petty. So if you go back a couple episodes, we were talking about Tyler getting paid for some of his trunks from his wrestling days. Anybody ever offer to pay you for any of your gear after a competition, like as in the female species?
Mine was not a female that offered
Put you on the spot here,
just to be clear,
or a male. I mean, whatever. No one ever paid you for any of your gear.
I think I've sold some of it. Yeah.
Yes. Me and Magnus, two peas in a pod right here.
You don't have to say for how much, or you don't have to be as.
Me and Magnus are very business minded. Yeah. That's all it is.
If you're looking for a good story on that, it's a couple episodes back. Tyler has a really good story of some guy.
But if somebody wants something like old shoes or something, or
Yeah.
You know,
Soiled
I still
underwear?
got some of them.
Soiled underwear. I still got some of them. You guys heard if you want to buy someone's old competition shoes,
Yeah, there you go.
he's willing to sell them autographed.
Drop
Yeah.
my line.
He'll even wear them again and make them sweaty.
Was there anybody else that you could think of, like, so you say Kazmaier was like, to put it nicely, like very intense competition day or whatever. Is there anybody else that was sort of up there with him too that you like, don't talk to this guy competition day, don't be around him because he's just like a powder keg? And I don't even mean like they're an asshole, but I just mean like on competition day, like it's just like that's not somebody you want to try to bump. You want to bump shoulders with.
Well, I'm not going to tell you who are assholes. But
No, I don't want to know that. I want to keep everybody being great in my head.
You're not
Everybody
going to
being.
tell us on the podcast. I get it. I get it.
yeah, you know, the thing is, you know, in a contest, you're in a certain mindset, and you say something, or you get unhappy with a call, or this and that, or you know, you get unhappy with your competitor. Or, you know, people do silly stuff or say silly stuff that, you know, usually they regret, but
Usually. Some hold that grudge for years.
You get, you know, unfortunately, I've seen my countrymen act stupidly like that.
Yep.
And I think you all know who I'm talking about.
I've seen some intense ones with you and one of your countrymen on stage at the Arnold's, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same guy.
That's what I was thinking. But that's an example of just what I'm talking about, where it's just like, I'm sure you guys are cordial and friendly otherwise, but it's just like in a very intense moment, or maybe not, I don't know, but like it's a very intense moment on stage where it's just like
emotions are high.
Emotions run very high, and it's a
lot
big
of
deal to
money's on the
people.
line,
Yeah.
a lot of training.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is with me, even though I'm accused of being, you know, really have it out for somebody, or I had heard it all.
Yeah, favoritism.
Or I'm favoriting this one, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care who's in front of me.
Yeah.
It could be my best buddy ever.
Yep.
He's getting the same treatment as everybody else.
Me and Tyler put on the shows here, and we're good friends. And at the Cop and Morris, we said no bomb in the log, and he bombed the log. And I looked at it, I said, no bomb in the log. I would have took his neck rep weight. And he came back. He left angry because he was in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Came back before his next rep. Sorry, Devin. And he left his log.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to treat him the same as everybody
Sorry-
else.
sorry
I don't
for
care who
bombing
you
your
I don't
log,
care.
Devin.
I've always said, I don't care who you are. If you could have the top strongman coming out to Gimli, and I would tell him the same shit I tell an amateur competitor, because I really don't care who they are. They're going to get the same treatment.
Yeah. The thing is, you know, and I'd love and like them all to do well.
Yeah.
That, you know, that's all, and plus no injuries.
Right.
Now,
Besides the two that Carmen
even
brought.
when I took on the role to be, you know, referee in our World's Strongest Man,
Yeah.
I was helping out. I'd help out people with training and this and that, and giving them some tips and secrets and help them out. I didn't train anyone anymore, but any of the World's Strongest Man competitors, whatever, whatnot, can come to me and ask for advice
Okay.
on their training and whatever. And some of them have,
Yeah.
and some of them have gained from it,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I'm not gonna, you know, run after them and offer them the advice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even before I took on the role, I was working for Channel 5 for the TV side of it. And I offered, when Thor got beat by Eddie, I offered Thor advice on his truck pull.
Yeah.
But all his yes men around him said, oh, because he won the truck pull in his heat. And I said, it was good. That was good, but you can do better. You can be faster. And they didn't want to take my advice. So when he comes to the final and the plane pull, he gets beat by a 50 kilo lighter man.
That which shouldn't happen.
Which should not happen.
Yeah.
When I brought Thor around for, you know, the first time,
Yeah.
he was unbelievable at truck pull.
Yeah.
He was pretty much kicking everybody's ass until he started getting cussed by the Australian.
Ah.
He started getting beat, which he shouldn't be. if you're that tall, that big,
you're made for that.
that heavy.
Yeah.
That is your event.
If you know how to use your strength and your body and your body weight and your height, if I would have that height, nobody would ever have beat me in truck pull.
Right.
Ever.
Can I ask what the advice was that you offered, just as a curious competitor?
He said it before. Just pull faster.
Be 6'7".
Yeah.
And
No, but can you?
You know, one of the biggest problems, especially those kind of taller guys have, is they intend to come up too high.
I was just gonna say. I tell you, when I'm good at truck pull for my size. Tyler can attest. I'm good at the truck pull.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody I train, you need to be like an airplane coming off a runway.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah, and that's how you need to be.
If you look at some of my older truck pulling and whatnot, if you look at Mateusz Kilikoski pulling a truck, it's almost identical.
It's efficient.
Yeah.
Your power's in a straight line. You're not.
Then you can look at some of the bigger guys, and you can see the difference.
Well, they're
and I'll rest my case on it.
They're bent over like an old hooker.
Yeah.
And they're trying to pull like this. Yeah.
Well, if you've been in the sport for so long, and especially if you've been told and taught and told many times how to do it, and you'll still do the same mistake year after year,
can't figure
out, and you get your ass handed to you,
can't figure
year
out
after year, and you still come back and do the same mistake,
right.
And then you say the truck pull wasn't heavy enough.
Well, run fast.
And I'm not going to mention any names.
We've touched on the weight of the truck pull earlier. So.
That's good shit.
As much as I really don't want to, I think that we should probably think about wrapping things up here pretty soon. But because I could literally sit here and listen to stories like this all fucking day. Yeah,
no issue.
I said when you were here last year was that we would just mention like one of the guys was like, oh, I got a pinch on my belly from the belt clean, and you would tell us a story from like the guy who I think he said lost his belly button or something, right? Yes.
Yep.
But it was just like, man, this guy's got a fucking great story for everything. And so I'm so thankful that you came down here, and on behalf of everybody who's here, we want to say thank you for taking the time, because I know this weekend's very, very hectic and busy for you, so we really do appreciate you coming down.
No, it's an honor for us.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very much so. Yeah, like as somebody who we're
as much as you were honored to fly here to meet me,
I got plenty more to say, but we'll leave it until a later time.
Yeah. We'll have a private conversation later. So this will unfortunately be coming out after the Gimli competition, but that's going to be great. And if you if whatever the results are of the Gimli competition, look for that person to be competing at the Magnus Classic in Iceland in November.
It's just the top guy comes to Iceland.
Yep.
Yeah.
So look for that. There's a few Western Canadian guys that are going to be looking to make some noise and go back there again. And Jeffers looking to defend his title.
I want to add to that. JF Caron.
That's exactly what I was going to say next. Yes,
Iceland.
You want to talk about guys who are coming back from a devastating injury?
Yes,
that's man.
There were rumors he was going to come and compete in Gimli there for a bit, but then
was it?
Yeah, there was some like a kibosh.
I would have loved to have my ass.
I was pretty excited.
JF,
I was like, those are pretty cool. Like it's
if JF coming back is anybody who does Strongman in Canada pretty much worships JF, so it's very exciting for us to see him coming back, and very excited for us, especially if you see that video of that injury, you thought that could very well be it.
We all thought it was career ending.
It was, but you just can't count out a guy on the level of JF who's just he's not a human being. He's not a regular human being. So we're all very, very excited to see him compete there, and very excited. What's that? He has pet cows. That's true. Yeah, he's not like one of us.
So he carries the 5-gallon bales.
Yeah,
guys,
exactly. Yeah. So, but it's been an awesome show in the past for guys like Colton Sloan, James Jeffers, Max Boudreau. I mean, he's doing other stuff, but like Canadian guys have always gone to the show, and it's been really exciting to see them at this level. So we're very excited to see who's going next time. Do you have anything that you want to add or mention or anything before we?
No, but I like to add. Anybody that possibly can, come out to Gimli, watch the show, cheer the guys on, and then when the final comes in November, tune in and watch that show.
Damn right.
Beautiful. I love it. So on behalf of myself, Devin Penner, and our esteemed guests, Magnus from Magnusson, I'm really sorry that Beeks couldn't be here. I really apologize that we had to replace him, but he'll for sure be back by next time, and we'll try to have a little more notable name like Dave Beakley here.
Sorry we had to slum it this episode with Magnus.
But we are also recording tomorrow with Western Canada's strongest man and the former Magnus Gimli qualifier winner, James Jeffers. So we'll be looking forward to that one.
Getting all your inbred questions?
Yeah, what are questions you have for a guy from fucking Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan? And fuck it, we'll leave it at that. Thank you. Thank you so much, man.